Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a phrase that has two completely different and incredibly famous meanings. And we're going to explore how one of them pretty much took over the internet.
So, let me ask you, when you hear the Big Bang Theory, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? Is it a group of nerdy, lovable scientists in a Pasadena apartment? Or is it, the origin of the entire universe? For millions and millions of people, it's the sitcom, no question.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. I mean, this quote from the Magus Center just says it all. You have to scroll through 5 pages of search results about the show before you even get a whiff of the actual science. So how on earth did a TV show manage to overshadow one of the most important scientific ideas of all time?
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll kick things off with the show. Then we'll see where it connects to reality. After that, we're going to dive deep into the actual science. And finally, we'll get to the big question, which bang is going to have the more lasting impact in the long run?
Okay, let's jump right in and explore this really strange cultural moment, right? A moment where the term for the birth of the cosmos became way more famous for its laugh track.
So first up, let's talk about the pop culture giant that just kind of took over the name. And look, this wasn't just any TV show. This thing was a global sensation.
For 12 seasons straight, from 2007 to 2019, these guys brought nerd culture roaring into the mainstream. And it was kind of a double-edged sword, wasn't it? On one hand, it made physicists and astrophysicists feel like these relatable people you invited into your home every week. But on the other hand, it definitely leaned into some of those old stereotypes about socially awkward geniuses.
And boy, did that formula work. The show became an absolute financial juggernaut. I mean, at its peak, the main stars were raking in $1 million for a single episode. It was just a total explosion of money and fame.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. The show was super clever about how it mixed its own fictional world with actual real-world science and the brilliant people behind it.
Just look at this lineup. The show had this incredible parade of real-life scientific and tech superstars playing themselves. We're talking Stephen Hawking, who showed up 7 times, all the way to Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon. Incredible. And these weren't just quick little walk-on parts either. They were woven right into the story. Like here, you've got the one and only Neil deGrasse Tyson getting into a Twitter war with Raj, threatening a deGrasse kicking, and of course, reminding him about that whole Pluto situation.
And this just perfectly shows you how blurred the lines got between fiction and reality. The actress Mayim Bialik, who played the neuroscientist Amy Farrah Fowler, well, she actually has a PhD in neuroscience in real life. It's the perfect case of art imitating life. Or maybe in this case, art hiring life.
Okay, so with all that about the show in our minds, let's pivot. Let's talk about the original Big Bang Theory. The one without the commercials.
This is it. This is the foundational idea in all of modern cosmology. It's not a plot for a TV show. It's the origin story of literally everything we know. Every star, every planet, every single one of us.
But this idea wasn't always a sure thing. Before the Big Bang model took hold, most scientists, including Albert Einstein himself, believed in what they called a steady-state universe. The idea was that the universe was just eternal, unchanging. So the idea that it had a beginning, that it was expanding, that was a totally radical, game-changing concept.
And what's so important to remember is that this theory was built over decades. It all started with a Belgian priest and physicist, Georges Lemaitre. Then it was confirmed by the astronomer Edwin Hubble. And, get this, it was actually named by one of its biggest critics, Fred Hoyle, who said Big Bang on the radio to kind of make fun of it. And it wasn't until 2018 that the scientific world officially gave Lemaitre his due, a quiet priest whose math literally changed how we understand time and space.
So why are scientists so sure about this? How do we know the universe actually had a beginning? Well, it turns out the evidence is all around us.
The whole case for the Big Bang really rests on 3 main pillars of evidence. Think of them like cosmic clues, and they all point back to one single moment. The first is called the redshift. You know how an ambulance siren sounds higher pitched when it's coming at you and lower when it's going away? Well, light does something kind of similar. Light from faraway galaxies is stretched out towards the red end of the spectrum, and that's the cosmic equivalent of that siren's pitch dropping. It's the proof that everything is speeding away from everything else.
Now for the second pillar, and this is just a fantastic story. The cosmic microwave background was discovered completely by accident. Seriously. Two researchers were trying to build a super-sensitive radio receiver, and they just could not get rid of this persistent, humming noise that was coming from every single direction in the sky all at once. And it turns out that noise they were so annoyed by was the echo of creation itself. Just as NASA explains here, the fact that it was so perfectly uniform, coming from everywhere, was the smoking gun. It proved it had to come from a single, ancient event, and it confirmed a prediction that was made decades before. Just amazing.
So all of this brings us right back to where we started. What does it actually mean for our culture when a sitcom becomes more famous than the fundamental science it's named after?
It's kind of a wild comparison, right? We have one theory that gave us the stars, the planets, and our very existence, and then we have another that gave us TV stars who earned $1 million an episode and the catchphrase, Bazinga.
At the end of the day, the answer might say less about how important science is and more about the power of the stories we tell ourselves, whether those stories are about the beginning of time itself or just about four nerdy friends and the girl who lives across the hall. So which one do you think will last?